Thank you for joining us for this brief demonstration on using tag objects with FactoryStudio. Let's get started. From within the FactoryStudio engineering environment, click on Edit Tag Objects. This brings you to the table for working with tag objects. This looks like a database table because it is a database table, part of the embedded, encrypted SQL database file used to store your project definitions. Across the top are the column headers for the types of data you'll be entering for tags, but there are also many others you can choose from by right-clicking and just selecting which additional ones you would like to show. Column headers can also be reordered in any way that you may prefer. For example, just click with the left mouse button, hold down the column header, and move it to its new location. And I'll move it back. Also, with the column headers are filters, where you can specify which, in this case, which tag you want to look at. If I were working on the type, you see I could pick that I just want to look at the digital tags or the digital and the analog integer tags, or I can enable all of them just by unselecting. Also, you can click on the column headers to sort in ascending or descending manners. To add a tag, go to the insertion line and click on the name cell. Type in the name of the tag. In this case, I'm going to add a tag called pump01. It will be an analog integer tag. FactoryStudio supports arrays for your tags, so that very quickly, by specifying a value for the array, you can add a number of tags. You can specify a start value, whether to retain the value when you power down and power up, or leave the software and come back in, as well as a description. Once the information is entered, simply press the enter key, and now your tag has been added. And you'll see this one's added right here. Other tag types include digital, analog integer, analog double, analog decimal tag. There's a date time tag. There's a counter tag, which can be used to increment values based on counts. Perhaps you're counting parts being created or parts being rejected, or anything that you're going to be counting. You can set up a counter tag for. A timer tag. Let's add a timer tag here. And we'll just call it timer 01 and come over here and we'll say this is a timer. Now for the parameters for a timer tag, let me hit enter. Come down to timer 01. The parameters. It can be a square wave, where the interval sets the amount of time the value will remain set to the start value before being set back to 0. If the start value is blank or 1, the square wave will switch between 1 and 0. So you use the square wave, the interval, and a start value to specify the value to which it will switch based on the interval. Or you can have a pulse. Pulse, the interval sets the amount of time before the value is momentarily set to the start value. You can have delay off. Delay off, the interval sets the amount of time a tag can be set to a value before automatically changing back to 0. And then finally, comparer. This compares the value for a specific time of day. This could be used for triggering actions to take place. The value specified represents the time at which the tag will be set to a value of 1 and remain 1 until midnight, at which time it will be changed back to 0 automatically. Another type of tag supported in FactoryStudio is a date time tag, and I'm going to add a tag here called time date 01, and the type for this will be a date time. This is used for calculating the amount of time or the amount of days, or holding a date for you to be used in an expression or calculation. And arrays, FactoryStudio supports multi-dimensional array tags with support for up to 3 dimensions. Array tags enable you to quickly define multiple tags for like components in your application, such as pumps, motors, perhaps machinery, and so on. Using array tags in your displays will be covered in another video that also describes creating faceplate applications. Another feature in FactoryStudio that works well with faceplate type applications is the ability to create your own tag types. So here you see we have a machine tag type that has parts scheduled, parts rejected, produced, and so on, related for each machine that you define. So using tag types in conjunction with arrays again allows you to create a matrix of tags for many machines very quickly. When you install FactoryStudio, it includes a PID tag type so that you can have your process variable, your set point, proportional gain, all defined for each PID loop that you create for your application. FactoryStudio also includes support for reference tags. Reference tags in some cases have been called aliases, which are tag space holders or value holders that you will use when defining your animations, defining your alarms, your trends, so that you can decide what tag you want to be viewing at runtime. Create one faceplate using reference tags and then tell it which set of tags you want to use just by replacing the value of the reference tag. A very nice feature within FactoryStudio is the ability to import tags. There have been users that are accustomed to using spreadsheets and CSV files for creating tag definitions. Although that is not necessary with FactoryStudio, working with these resources is very easy. For example, creating many tags for the same type of devices, you could simply define the first one just like we did here for pump 01. To do so, I click on it, I right click, and then copy selected row. From here I switch to Excel and paste. And you see it not only brought in the pump 01 tag that I defined, but as well the column headers for that tag. So using standard Excel tools, I can select the row that I want, drag down this corner, and very quickly I've defined pump 01 through pump 14. So since I already have pump 01 defined in my project, I'm going to go ahead and delete this row. Now I'll take the rest of the table and right click copy, switch back to my engineering environment for FactoryStudio, click on the first row, right click and paste rows, and now you'll see that it added those tags into my database. To review, I created one tag in FactoryStudio, I copied it into Excel, I created many tags, and then copied and pasted those right back into our engineering environment. Now there's also another way I could demonstrate. I'll delete the rows I just added, keeping the original pump 01. So I select the rows, right click, and delete selected rows. If I switch back to Excel, I'll save these tags in a file. So I'll click on File, Save As, and I believe I already have a tag database in here under a CSV file, so I'll save as a CSV and click on Pump Tags, Save. So now if I go back to my tags database, I can import those tags. Just click on Import from a CSV file, go to the file I just saved, and now it brings those tags into my database. So now I've shown that you can enter a tag directly into the tags definitions within FactoryStudio. You can bring them out to a spreadsheet and create many tags, copy and paste those back into the engineering environment, or you can save it as a CSV file and import tags. Now once you have the tags in your database, you're free to use them however you want in your project. As an example, I'll quickly just create a screen within the draw environment. So I click on draw and create a new page. We'll just leave it as page 2. And then put a bar graph here. So click on the bar graph, come down to Dynamics, Config. And we'll make this be a bar graph. Now to use any of those tags that I wanted to use, I could click here on expressions. Now, this means I can create an expression. It doesn't just have to be a single tag name, but another feature in FactoryStudio is IntelliSense, and that uses tag names and other system names and other namespaces from within the environment, as well as from the .NET environment. So to access that, I just click on T because I want to select tags, and you see it brings up all the namespaces. I hit the period, and then if I want to use one of the tags I just added, I just type in a capital P, U, and now it brings me right to the pumps. So this is IntelliSense at work, and you'll see that anywhere that you can define an expression or enter a tag name within FactoryStudio. Now I will just create a very quick and easy slider here for the pump value. So we'll config, and this will be a move drag property, and we'll move it vertically. Again, that's T period P U. There's my pump, and hit enter. And also I'll put a text IO object out here as well. So that's here, click, and right click, and again the IntelliSense, make that text IO. The object name will be T.PU pump1. There we go. So just that easily, I've created a very simple animation. Before I open the page, I'm going to make sure that I made this two-way. Make sure it's a two-way slider, so it's not only an indicator, it's also a control. So we'll save the page. Now we'll open it up just in display preview here, and you'll see that that tag is being used in all three spaces very quickly, very easily to set up. It is not uncommon that sometimes the specification for tags may change, or perhaps the engineer had incorrectly entered the tag name, and instead of pump 01, that should have been pump 1. One nice feature in FactoryStudio is that you go back to the tags database, you change the tag name to be pump1, and automatically, wherever it was used, that change takes place. So if I go back to my draw environment, draw, and we'll go back to page 2, you'll see by double clicking on this, it's already changed. I didn't have to do any sort of global search and replace. I didn't have to push that out, update screens, update objects, anything like that. So thank you for your time and joining us in this review of tag objects within FactoryStudio. We look forward to working with you soon. For more information, please visit us at www.tatsoft.com and look for other Tatsoft videos online.